In this episode, you'll see a complete Azure project building a fully automated serverless architecture with CI/CD in Azure DevOps. From creating the storage accounts to deploying across test, QA, and production, everything runs in a real pipeline on the cloud. This is the kind of project that proves you've got real skills, and it's just one of over 40 hands-on projects inside our bootcamps for cloud, DevOps, and artificial intelligence. And remember, on November 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll reveal the last ever opportunity to get lifetime access to all our programs. Now let's dive into the full project.
Okay, bootcampers, so let's move forward now, and then before we go to the console, so let's see what we're going to do, right? First thing, we need to create a few storage accounts. And the reason that we're going to create a storage accounts is because the website that we're going to deploy is going to be completely serverless, right? And then given that it is serverless, we're not going to provision EC2 instances to deploy the website. We're going to use a feature from the blob. The blob can also host a static website, and then for having the blob in place, we need to have the storage account created. So we're going to create each storage account, right? One for each environment, one for testing environment, one for Q&A, and another one for production, right? And then also we have the storage account in place. We're going to move forward with the configuration steps inside of the Azure DevOps service. All right, then we're going to configure the repository. We're going to basically have the website source files locally available on our own laptops that we can upload those files to the Azure repos. And then we're going to basically configure the pipelines. And then finally, we're going to test it and making sure that everything is working fine. And we're going to go from there, right? So it's going to be a amazing process. And just one thing, given that it is a lot of details, right? It's not actually hard to execute this project, but there are a lot of details, right? It's a great level of details. Because of that, I strongly recommend you to go there on our documentation in our platform and copy the documentation to a notepad, like I'm going to do right now. And then you're going to basically follow, right, half of your screen on the Azure console and half of your screen in the documentation on your notepads, that you can use your notepad as a supporting resource for your project execution, right? That's going to be very important, and then I strongly recommend you do in the same way, right? So let's go there, let's move forward, and then I'm gonna have the half of my screen on Azure console and the other half I'm gonna have here on my notes. And then as you can see, I recommend you to do the same thing. Just go there and copy the hands-on project notes, right, to your notepad and do the same way. And then the first thing that we need to do, as you can see, you're going to go ahead and create the storage accounts, right, for each environment. So let's go there on the storage accounts and search for storage accounts. Then you're going to create each one for each environment, right? So let's go there and plus to create it. And then it's going to load that for us. And then here we're going to basically use the resource group. You're going to use the Azure Bootcamp for all storage accounts. And then here in the storage account name, you're going to basically use the name that is there on the documentation. And on your case, I strongly recommend that you put, a naming convention like I'm doing right now. So for example, in my case in here, I'm going to put, the TCB JR, which is the initial of my name, and the number 1. Right, for all of them. And then finally a kind of a acronym for the environment, right? So one for TST, what's going to be the testing environment, another one for Q&A, and another one for production, right? Just come in here and basically replace the JR1 with the initials of your name and a number as well, because you're going to need that throughout the execution of the project, right? So given that I'm creating the test one, I'm going to copy the test name, and then I'm going to give it in here, and there you go. And then you don't need to make any changes, just go ahead and review and create. And then just make sure that you create all of them in the same region. You can use the East US, right, just to have the same experience as I am going to have as well. Just go ahead and create it. It's creating my first storage account. Let's go ahead and create the next one. We're going to create 3 of them. Then let's go ahead and create the Q&A one. Okay. The resource group is going to be the Azure Bootcamp, then storage account name, the Q&A one, and then the same region. Then go ahead and review and create. Then just click in create to create a storage account. All right, and then finally, let's go ahead and create the other one, right? Let's go ahead and create the production one now while it's getting provision, the other 2. Then it's going to be the resource group is going to be the same Azure Bootcamp, and then the storage account name is going to be the TCBJR1 PRD. There you go. Then just go ahead, review and create. All right. Cool. All right. So as you can see, we're going to now create the production one. Looks like we have already a few storage accounts created, right? So let's go there and have a look and see how it's looking like, right? So let's go there in the storage accounts and see if we have something ready here. You see that the JR1 testing is already created, so that's good. So now while the other two are getting created, let's go ahead and start enabling the static website under the settings that we can basically set the index.html file as a home page for our static website, right? So let's go there inside of the storage account for testing environment first. And here you see that we can just scroll down, and then once you scroll down, the viewing here will not be pretty good, right? Because here I'm using half of the screen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just expand this one in here to make it better. Now you can see it much better, right? So I'm going to just collapse a little bit in here, and then if you scroll down all the way to data management and then click in static website, then you're going to basically enable the static website in here so that you can basically host websites inside of a Azure Blob storage, right? And then here on the index document name, you're going to put the index.html. That's also there in the documentation. Then just click and save, right? Then once you save, it's going to give you a endpoint. Just go ahead and copy this endpoint, right? Because we're going to use that to test our website. In the next steps, just go ahead and copy that, and then come back to the notes, and then just come in here and put it on the testing URL, right? The URL TST, just put in there. Then we're going to repeat the same process for all the other storage accounts, right? Let's go there and do for the Q&A now. Let's just refresh it and see if that's there. Yeah, everything is already in there, the Q&A and the PRD. Let's go ahead and repeat the process for the Q&A now. Scroll down until you see the static website, and then you're going to enable that. And then here in the index document name, just say index.html. Then go ahead and save it. And then just copy the primary endpoint and then put on your notes, right? So that you can use that later on. There you go. Now let's go and do the same thing for the production storage account. And let's go ahead and scroll down to data management and then static website. And then just click on enabled. And then here is going to give the index.html. All right. Save it. And then just copy the primary endpoint for the production website. And there you go, right? We should have our storage account prepared right now, okay? Which is good. All right, cool. So now what you're going to do, we're going to move forward to the next steps, right? We need to create a DevOps organization. Probably you already have it, all right? And then we're going to go there and create a new project, okay? So let's go there now on the DevOps, okay? DevOps organization, just search on the search bar, and then once you see the DevOps organization, click in there and click on My DevOps Organization, all right? If you don't have a organization created, just go ahead and create it, but I think you're already going to have it in place. Just go ahead and click inside of your organization, right? And then now we're going to basically create a new project, right? If you look at the documentation, we need to create a new project, and this project name is going to be website 01, right? Just go ahead and say website 01. Then here's going to be a private one. Just go ahead and create it. And then the Azure DevOps is going to create a new project, and the project is going to be the place where your application files will be located inside of the repository. And then we're going to have all the pipelines created here inside of this project, right? In a production environment, you would have usually one project for each application that you want to deploy using DevOps practices, right? So here we go, the DevOps, the website 01 is created. Now let's go back to our notes. Then what we need to do now is we need to generate the password, right, for the Azure repository so that we can basically upload the website source files to the repository sitting inside of the Azure DevOps, right? So for doing that, let's just click in repos. And here, once you click on repos for the first time, you're going to see this one in here, this screen. Just click in generate Git credentials. And then here you're going to copy this password because you're going to use that later on, right? Just go ahead and copy it, come back to your notepad, and then put it in here, right? Just store your password in here because you're going to need that later on, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to basically go ahead and download the web source code to your laptop, right? So that we can upload this code to the repository sitting here on Azure. So let's go ahead and open the Git bash now. And then as you can see, I am with the Git bash open. And then let's go ahead on the documentation here in the notes and download the the zip file, right? The zip file that has the web source files. Just go ahead and copy it and use the curl command to download it to your laptop, all right? And then now you're going to basically unzip the file that was just downloaded so that you can have the folder available first. There you go. Let's just type clear to clear the screen. And if you run ls, you should see right inside of your Azure folder. I recommend you to do it inside of your Azure folder, right? The folder that we have in place on our own laptop, right? Just go ahead and then you're going to see that the Azure DevOps folder has been created, right? So what we're going to do is coming back to the documentation, we are going to now basically get inside of this folder, and then we're going to prepare this folder so that we can push this code to the repository inside of the Azure DevOps, right? So let's go ahead and just go inside of the folder, right? Let's just go inside of the Azure DevOps folder, and then if you run ls, you're going to see that there is a files folder in there. If you run ls-l DRA, you're going to see that there is a hidden folder in here. We're going to remove that .git hidden folder. We don't need that because we're going to actually use. Actually, we do need that, right? We are not going to remove it right now. Okay, we do need that. We are not going to remove it. Leave it there for now, right? And then what we're going to do now is we're going to basically execute this command in here to add a new origin, right? You're going to go there and add this new origin, okay? So let's go there, and what you're going to do first, instead of running from here, okay, you're going to go back to the Azure portal, and then we're going to come back in here, inside of this push a existing repository from the command line. We're going to copy those commands in here, and then we're going to replace it, right? You're going to replace those commands from our documentation, right? Because this command in here is gonna add a origin here on Azure so that we can, push the code from our own laptop to the repository sitting on Azure, right? Just go ahead and do it and replace it, right? Come back on your notes and replace it, and then once it gets replaced, you're going to see that you're going to see your organization name and then the repository inside of your Azure DevOps organization, right? Just go ahead to your Git bash and run it, copy that and run it, right? So let's go on our Git bash and then just hit ls. It's very important that you see the files folder in here before running it, right? Don't run until you see the files folder, otherwise it's not gonna work, right? Once you do it, just go ahead and clear the screen and then run the command, right? And then if you see this error saying that the remote origin already exists, you just need to run the git remote and then remove the remote origin and just say origin, right? And then Git is gonna remove the origin for you. Just run that git remote remove origin, and then it should be good, right? And then I'm gonna put this on the notes as well so that you can do it and then to avoid any issue at all for you. So git remote remove origin, all right? And then it should be good. So now what you're going to do is you're going to run the git push, and then you're going to basically the git push is going to upload the website files in our laptop folder here on Azure DevOps inside of this files folder, right? Let me clear here and show you before running that. So we have the files folder. Inside of this files folder, if you run the ls, you're going to see that we have the website files in here, the index file is in there, the images, all of that are inside of this repository, right? So basically what we're going to do now is we're going to run this git push command to upload all those files to inside of our Azure repository, right? In order for you to run that, let's just clear, just make sure that you're seeing the files folder, because otherwise it's not going to work. Then once you make sure that you are seeing the files folder, right, you go ahead and run the git push, right, like this, hit enter, and then let's see what is what's complaining here. Oh, all right, so we need to actually add a new origin. Looks like that the command was not executed, right? So let's go ahead and run it now. So this one should be right here, and then we should then add the remote now. So let's go ahead and run that now. Git remote add origin. There you go. Now you can go ahead and run the git push origin, right? Just go ahead and run it. Then what's going to happen is it's going to ask you, right, for authentication. And then it's going to, pop up a window like this asking you to authenticate. You're going to close it. And then it's going to ask you, right, for authenticate using the Git for Windows, right? It's going to pop up a window like this asking you to authenticate. You're going to cancel that. And then it's going to ask you to put the password in a command line, right? That's exactly what we're going to do. And then just come back on your notes, okay? Here on your notes, you're going to scroll up and then copy the password that you generated previously, right? Just go ahead and copy that and then put it in here. And then you're going to see that once that password is accepted, the git bash, right? The git command is going to, upload the code to the repository inside of Azure DevOps, right? You see that it just executed, it uploaded all the files, and then all the files should be inside of our Azure repository in the DevOps organization. Let's go there and see if it is there. So let's come in here now on files. Let's just click in the files. Then as you can see here under files, you see that the files folder is in there, and then the index.html file from the website is also in there with the images folder and all of that, which is good. So it basically means that the git push command worked correctly, right? So now let's move forward with the other steps. Let's go ahead, and now we have already executed that. We have downloaded, we have removed the remote origin, and then we added a new one, right, that we copied from the Azure website, from the Azure DevOps, right, under the repos screen. And then now we have already pushed the code, and then the code is sitting inside of Azure organization. Now what we're going to do is we're going to basically go ahead and start creating our pipelines, right? We are here on part 2, okay? So now we are going to start creating first the CI pipelines, or continuous integration pipelines. And then here on the continuous integration pipelines, we're going to start creating it so that, we can have a way to detect the changes in the code and start creating the building process so that the building process can be ready to deploy the applications in the storage accounts that we have created, right? So we're going to go there on pipelines. Let's see if we can do half of the screen now so that we can make sure that it is better. Let's see if we can do like this. Let's go back in here. Now we're going to go on pipelines. So for going to the pipelines, we're going to come in here on this rocket and then click on pipelines. And then here, just click and create pipeline. And then here, please pay attention now, right? Just follow the documentation. Here, we are not going to select none of these options. We're going to click in here and use the classic editor, right? And then once you click on classic editor, you're going to select the source of the code. So the code is coming from the Azure repos Git, right? Which is good. So just make sure that, the repository is coming from the website 01, and then we're going to use the main branch, right? Then just click in continuing. And then here, following the documentation, right, we're going to basically select the option to start with a empty job. Just click in there, and there you go, right? So here you have your pipeline, and then what you're going to do now is we're going to start adding the tasks to the pipeline, right? And then remember, the pipeline is just a set of tasks that you're going to execute to prepare the code to be ready for the deployment, right? And the first task that we need to do is we need to basically go ahead and add the archive files task, right? So that's exactly what we're going to do, right? So here down below, you see that we have the agent job 1. Then what we're going to do is we're going to click on this plus button, right? Just click in there, and then we're going to add a new task to our pipeline, right? We're going to basically search on this one in here for the archive files task. Just search for that. And then once you see the archive files, you're going to add that to the pipeline. And then the task is going to come in here. Just click in that. And the first thing that we're going to change is the display name, right? Just come in here and copy the display name and then just replace it. That task is going to basically zip the website source files, right? So that it can be deployed in the storage accounts, right? It's gonna, take the files from the source code, right? Sitting in the Git repository, gonna zip that. That's the task that we're going to do right now, okay? And then here on the root folder of file to archive, right? We're going to basically come in here on these 3 dots and make sure that we select the files folder, right? And you just need to come in here and select the files folder. Please make sure that you're doing it correctly, otherwise it's not gonna work. Just click in files, there you go, right? You should see something like this, right? And then everything else you're going to leave as default, right? Just reviewing in here. We just changed the display name, we changed the root folder of file to archive to files, so we should be good to go, right? Now just go ahead and add a new task. Clicking here on the plus sign button, and we're going to add a new task. And then the task that we're going to add is the publish build artifacts. All right, so just search for that, and then there you go. Once you see it, click in add. Then the new task is going to be added in here. Then just come in here and change the display name to the one that you're seeing in the documentation. Copy that, and then replace it with the value that you're seeing in the documentation. All right, and then here, that's the only thing that you should do, right? You're not going to, change anything else on this one, right? You just need to do it, so that's good. So now what you're going to do is, let's just expand this a little bit more so that you can see all the options, right? Given that we have already all the tests in place in here for our CI pipeline, we're going to basically click in here, okay? Just to make sure that everything is good. So this is good. And here we're not going to change anything. This is also good. The zip files is good. The artifacts is also good, right? So now what you're going to do is just clicking here on this arrow and just click and save, right? We're not going to save and queue. Just click and save and then save the pipeline. And then it's going to be saved. And now what you're going to do is you're going to come back in here, right? So that we can see the pipeline. You're going to basically, let's go here in triggers, just click in triggers. Then here in triggers, what you're going to do is you're going to basically click and enable continuous integration, right? That's what we're going to do. So following the documentation, clicking in trigger, we're going to enable the continuous integration. And then the continuous integration, what's going to do, it's going to continuously looking for changes in the source code. And then if something is detected, it's going to start a new release of our code, right? That's all what's going to do, okay? Just go ahead again and come back in here and save it without saving in queue. Just save it, and then you should be good, right? So now if you click in pipelines, you should see the pipeline that we just created, right? Available for us. If you click and add it in here, you should be able all the steps that we just executed, right? That's it. That's all what we need to do in here. If you click in summary, we don't have any execution now, right? And then we're going to execute shortly, but for now we are not going to execute the pipeline, okay? Just make sure that the configuration is in place like this, right? You can explore a little bit more in here and clicking on the variables and triggers and options so that you can see all the options that you have in place for the continuous integration pipeline, right? And once you do that, you're good to go. Let's go to the next step, right? So now going to the next step, you're going to create the continuous deployment pipeline, right? The continuous deployment pipeline is going to be responsible for deploying the website to the storage accounts that we just created, right? Let's go there now, and then clicking here on the pipelines. Under pipelines, you're clicking in releases.
Hey, quick break before we continue. Have you signed up for the Lifetime Access Black Friday live event on November 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time? This will be the last time ever that we'll offer lifetime access to all boot camps, cloud, DevOps, artificial intelligence, and bonuses revealed only live. You'll get 40 plus real-world projects based on enterprise scenarios. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code to secure your spot. After this, there will never be another chance like it. All right? Now let's get back to the video.
Okay. Here in releases, we're going to create a new pipeline for the release now. Just click in new pipeline. And then here, first thing that we need to do is we basically need to, coming back to documentation, then just make sure that you're following the step by step, right? Because it's very easy that you make a mistake because a lot of details in here, okay? So first of all, as I mentioned, we're going to create a new pipeline, okay? And then here, we are not going to use any template. You just need to select a empty job, right? And then the first thing that we want to do in here is just click in add an artifact, right? And then click in build, okay? And then here on the project, you're going to leave the website 01. And then in the sourcing here, you're going to pick the continuous integration pipeline that we just created, right? Just select this one and click in add, right? And then here on this icon here on the continuous deployment trigger, you're going to click in there. And then basically you're going to enable the continuous deployment trigger, right? This one in here is gonna basically, when a new release is created, you know, let's say that the website code changed, we decided to change the background color from blue to red, right? And then there was a code change detected. What's gonna happen is if you have this trigger enabled, then what's gonna happen is the release pipeline is going to detect that code change and it's gonna initiate the deployment of the changes on all the environments here on the stages that we're going to create automatically for us, right? That's all what's going to happen, okay? So coming back now to documentation, we just enabled that. As you can see, the trigger is enabled. Now we're going to add a new stage, right? We're going to start by adding the testing stage, okay? So the testing stage in here is going to be basically it's going to have all the steps that we need to execute, right? The pipeline needs to execute to deploy the website to the storage account on the testing environment, right? You're going to basically come in here on stage 1, just click on stage, and then you're going to change the name in here from stage 1 to testing. All right, that's the first thing that you need to do. Just change the testing, the name for the testing. Then here you're going to click on task, just click in there. All right, and then once you click in task, you're going to click in here on the agent job, and then you're going to click on the plus to add a new task, right? And then coming back to documentation, we're going to add a few tasks. Basically, we're going to add 1, 2, 3 tasks, right? So that, you know, the tasks can deploy the website to our storage account. So basically, the first tag that we're going to add is to extract the zip file that's going to be created from the continuous integration process, right? If you remember, we have added a task in there to zip the files, the source files, and put that in a working directory location. Now we're going to take that file and extract, right? Those files, this zip file, and then putting it in a location so that, you know, the other tasks can go ahead and execute and upload the website files to the storage account, right? And that's exactly what you're going to do on the next 2 tasks, right? So basically, let's go ahead first and add the extract file task. Copy that and then come in here and search for the extract file task, right? Just go ahead and add that. And then here under the extract files task, you're going to basically change the display name. First of all, just go ahead on documentation and then just change the display name. With this one in here, extract the files from the website. And then here under archive file patterns, you need to come back on documentation and copy this pattern in here, right? Please make sure that you copy everything from the star up to this .zip file without any spaces. Otherwise, it's not going to work, right? Just come in here and replace it. In the destination folder, it's going to be the same thing. Copy that, right? The destination folder. Just make sure that you're not copying the white spaces in here, and then just give in there. And then the destination folder in here is going to be the location that the zip file is going to be unzipped, right? And then this is the a working directory inside of Azure DevOps organization that Azure is going to use for temporarily hold your website files so that you can, so that they can be used to be deployed to the storage account, right? So just go ahead and make sure that everything is good and do it. So once you do it, let's go ahead and do and add a new task. Just click on the plus sign button, right? Click in there, and then let's go to the documentation. Then now we're going to add a task to run the Azure CLI, right? Just search for Azure CLI and then just click add. And then this task in here, as you can see, it's gonna basically upload the website files to the Azure blob, right? So just go there and copy this command in here, this display name actually, and then replace it with the display name so that we know what the task is doing, all right? And then here under authorizing, right, we need to basically authorize the task, okay? We just need to come in here and pick the subscription, right? Just click on the subscription that you're using right now and click in authorize. And then it's gonna authorize your task. Basically, it's gonna ask you to put your username and password again for your Azure account. I'm gonna do it. All right, once you give the username and password, it's gonna change the status to authorizing like this, and then it's gonna be authorized, right, after a few seconds, all right? So now coming back to the documentation, we're going to basically authorize the Azure Resource Manager connection as you just saw. Then here on the script type, you're going to change it to shell, right? Like you're seeing on the documentation, it's going to be the script type. And then here on the script location, we're going to make sure that it is inline, okay? Just change to script path to inline script. And then here inside of the inline script, you're going to basically, please pay attention now, okay? This one in here is the Azure CLI command that we need to give so that Azure CLI can go ahead and upload the files, right, which are inside of the files folder, right, from the repository to the storage account that we have created, right, under the container web, the blob web, where the website files will be located. So what we need to do in here is you need to copy this command like I'm doing right now. Just copy that and put it in here. And what you need to do is you just need to come in here and replace the account name with your storage account name, right? So if you come back now on your notepad, you're going to scroll up and then you're going to pick up the storage account name that you have created for the testing environment, right? Which in my case is going to be this one in here, okay? In your case, you pick your storage account name and then come in here and replace it, okay? Just make sure that you replace it with your storage account name. You can do it from here directly, or you can do it in here from the notepad. I think it would be more recommended. You just come in here and replace it first, right? Just make sure that you see everything, and then later on, you can come in here and copy that and give it in there, right? Any way it would work. Either way would work, okay? Just make sure that you do it correctly. Otherwise, it's not gonna work, right? Make sure that you don't have any spaces in here, okay? Like on this one in here, I see a space on this one, so I'm gonna remove it in here. Just make sure that you don't have any spaces. Otherwise, it's not gonna work, right? You are going to see an error saying that there was an issue, and then you're going to need to see what happened, right? So coming back now in here, we're going to now change the working directory to this one in here. Just copy this one and then coming back and then change the working directory. This one is gonna give this one in here. Just make sure that you're not copying any wrong command, right? So basically just make sure that you're not copying the white spaces like this. Just copy everything correctly, otherwise it's not gonna work, okay? And I have actually mentioned that would be 3 tasks, but actually just 2 tasks. This one to extract and then the other one to upload the files to the Azure blob, right? So basically that's what we are going to do, right? So that's good. So now we are going to basically come back in here and rename this pipeline. Let's just copy this name in here. We're going to rename this pipeline. Instead of new release pipeline, just click in here on this icon and then change the pipeline name. And then go ahead and save it. And then here, just clicking OK to save it. And then basically, we're going to see that if you come back to the pipeline, now we have the testing pipeline created, right? So if we come back now on the documentation, the next step that we need to do is basically cloning, right, the pipeline. Because this step in here, we have already done, right? Adding the artifact, we have already added that. And then we also we click it on the lightning button and then we enable the continuous deployment, right? We have already done that, so that's good. I'm gonna remove it from here to avoid any confusion, right? Just remove it that. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to clone this testing stage, right? We are basically going to clone that to create the Q&A stage. That's gonna be quicker now, okay? Just click in here and then down below you see this clone button. Just click in clone. And then here just change the name from copy to Q&A, right? So that we know that this stage is going to be the stage for the deployment in the Q&A environment. Click in the tasks. And then here under the Azure files to below, following the documentation, right? We just need to basically rename the storage account, right, in the inline script to use the Q&A. In that case, we are still on the Q&A, right? You just need to remove or rename the inline script to rename the Q&A storage account name, right? So here, if you remember, we have given the testing account name. Now we need to basically replace that with the Q&A account name, right? So just come in here and copy that. And then coming back in here and replace the storage account name with the Q&A, and it should be good, right? Just make sure that you have everything correctly, okay? And then once you do that, just click in save, okay, and you're good. So now click on pipelines to come back to the pipeline. Now you have your Q&A in place, right? Your Q&A stage in place. Now you're going to clone the Q&A stage to create the production one. Just click in clone, and then you're going to say that this is going to be the production one, right? Which is good. So now click in the jobs, and then you're going to click on the upload files to Azure below, and then here you're going to replace the storage account with the production one, right? Just coming back, and then let's go ahead and replace it. I'm following the documentation, just do the same, right? We just did the cloning stage, and then we saved that, and then now we are here on this block doing the production stage, right? We're just changing the inline script to have the production account name, right? Let's go ahead and change that. Just make sure that you don't have spaces, that you have spaces correctly, right? Between the names in here, okay? Once you do it, just go ahead and save it, okay? And then click in pipelines to go back. And then given that this is a production environment, what you're going to do in here is we're going to basically enable the pre-deployment conditions to get approval before deploying to production, right? So the way that's going to work is before going ahead at the pipeline, going ahead and deploying the website to the production environment, we are going to basically go there and force that to have a step so that somebody can approve that, making sure that the Q&A environment is good first, and then once everything looks good, then somebody can go ahead and approve the deployment in the production environment, right? That's all what we're going to do. So for doing that, let's go ahead and click in here in this pre-deployment condition icon. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to basically come in here on trigger. Let's see, if you click in here in trigger, you're going to basically enable the pre-deployment approval, right? Just click in here and enable that. Then here, you're going to give yourself, right? Just put the email address that you have created your Azure account. You're going to give yourself to approve, right? The deployment, and that's it, right? That's all what you need to do in here. And then in a real world scenario, you could have somebody from the management, for example, approving it for the production environment before deploying it. For example, some release manager or anything like that. Just go ahead and save it. Just click in OK, and there you go. The pipeline is good. So what's going to happen now is anytime that the website code has a change, all the pipeline tasks are going to be executed automatically, right? So basically, the release pipeline is going to detect a change, and then it's going to start deploying the website in the testing environment. Then it's going to go to the Q&A environment. Then finally, when somebody approves the deployment on production, then it's going to be deployed to the production environment, right? So that's all what we are going to do now. So now it is time for us to test it. So that's going to be the last part. Now we're going to basically go there on the pipelines and run the pipelines that we can see it executing, right? So let's go there on pipelines now. Just click in pipelines, And then here's the CI pipeline that we have created. Just click in there and then just click in Run Pipeline. And then once you click in Run Pipeline, just click in Run here on this button. And then what's going to happen is Azure is going to start running the tasks inside of the CI pipeline first. As you can see here, it's already queued. If you click in here, it's going to show you all the tasks that's going to execute, right? It's going to load it in here. So basically, if you remember, the first task that it's going to execute is zipping the files that came from the repository so that it can be inside of a zip file, right? It's going to run the zip files task. It's going to check out the code first, then going to run the zip files task, and then it's going to go ahead and run the artifacts publish so that we can have the artifact ready to deploy on all those 3 environments, right? So the zip files task has been already completed. Now it's running the artifacts publish task, right? If you come in here on the log, you can see all the process. Then the CI job has been already completed. Now, if you come to releases, you're going to see that it is going to start initiating a new release, right? And the release is going to be initiated. And then if you remember, we have 3 stages, right? The stage 1, which is going to be running in the test environment, which is already in progress, right? If you click in here, you're going to see that it's already running the tasks inside of the testing environment, okay? So basically, that's what it is, right? So basically, it's gonna run all the tasks inside of the environment. Let's just go ahead and click in here and see. There's just a warning here. It should be fine. So let's just see if that's gonna execute correctly. Yeah, it's downloading the artifact that was just created, right, with the application file. It's extracting that, those files from the zip file, right, and then uploading the files now to the Azure Below, right, inside of our Azure account, your storage account that we just created, right? So it's gonna take those source files, the website files, and then it's gonna upload those source files to the storage account, right? And then the storage account, you're going to have a below storage in there, right, with all your HTML files, and it looks like it got already completed, right? So if we come back now to the pipeline, you're going to see that the testing environment has been already completed, right? So what you're going to do now is going to start running the deployment process inside of the Q&A environment, right? If we go ahead now and let's go ahead on our Azure account, coming back in here, and if we go to storage accounts, just search for storage accounts, all right? And then if you go to the TST storage account now, and if you go to the scroll down in here, right, let's go ahead and have a look on the containers. If you click in the containers and the web container, you're going to see that all the website files are already here. This deployment or this uploading process, right, was done automatically by the process, right, the release process that was just executed, right? Now, if we go back to our documentation and copy the testing URL, right, for the storage account, let's see if the website is going to show up. Let's gonna up just a new tab, just hit enter. And if everything worked correctly, you're going to see that the website was already provisioned using the Azure DevOps pipelines, right? Which is good. This is just the testing environment, as you can see here in the URL, right? Now, coming back now, you're going to see that the Q&A environment has been already successfully provisioned, right? All the steps has been already completed. So now let's go ahead and copy the Q&A URL. So let's see if the Q&A environment is good as well. So let's open a new tab, right? And see if everything is good. Looks like it is good as well. The Q&A environment has been already deployed. So coming back now to the documentation, you're going to see that now if you go back here to the pipeline, you're going to see that the production environment is still pending, right? If you try to access the website using the production URL, you're going to see that nothing is in there, right? Let's open a new tab and give the production URL, and you're going to see that there is an error, right? Because there is no environment deployed so far. So now if we come back in here on Azure DevOps, right? And then you're going to see that the production environment is not deployed yet because it is pending approval, right? So let's say that somebody has looked at the Q&A environment and saw that everything is looking good. Now, that person can come in here and click in approve. and then can just say everything looks good, approved, and then with that, the deployment is going to initiate in the production environment, right? Just click in approve. Then once you click in approve, it's going to be, immediately queued. You see that's going to change to the queued state. If you click in logs, you're going to see that, all the jobs are going to be initiated, right? So basically, the execution of the tasks inside of the pipeline is going to get started in maybe seconds, right? And then you see that is already in progress. So now that we have approved to be deployed in the production environment, then you're going to see that we're going to be able to deploy our environment in the production environment as well, right? So let's see what's gonna happen now. So it's downloading the artifact, which is good. So now it's extracting the files, then now uploading to the Azure blob, right? In a production environment. So let's see if that's gonna go and execute correctly. All right. So it's running, it's good. All right, that's good. So it's looks like it got already deployed, as you can see, right? So now if we go back to the pipelines, everything is already completed, right? So the deploy has been successfully completed on all the 3 environments. And then now if you come back to the production URL and refresh it, there you go. As you can see, the website has been deployed on the production environment as well, right? Which is pretty amazing. So now let's say that a developer decided, that, the website is there up and running, but somebody asked them, the developer, to change this wording here, actually to add, instead of congratulations, they wanted to change this to good job, right? And think about that. If you would need to that manually, right? You would need to go there, make the change in the source code, and then deploy that manually in every single environment, right? You would need to go there and deploy in the development environment, Q&A, and production, everything manually, right? Thinking about a scenario that usually we see in a on-premise environment, right? That is not using a DevOps technology. But in our case, what you're going to do is you're going to make a change in the code, right? You're going to replace this congratulations word for good job. And then all the process is going to take care of updating the code inside of each one of the websites, right? So let's go ahead and do it now. So coming back to the documentation, if you scroll down in here now to the last steps, we have already executed the pipelines. We approved the production execution. We validated the URL access. So now we're going to make a change on the index.html file. We're going to replace this wording here with the good job one, right? Then we're going to go ahead and execute the commit, right? So that we can make a change on the code, and then we're going to push this code to our repository in, sitting in the Azure DevOps organization, right? So let's go there now on our Git bash, and then here let's go and clear the screen. Just type clear. Then let's go ahead and run vi, and then the file is inside of the files folder index.html, right? Just run vi, or you can use nano. It doesn't matter. Same thing will work. And then once you open this file, you're going to scroll down with your arrow. And then until you see this congratulations word, you're going to go there and replace it, right? You're going to remove this congratulations word, and then you're going to replace it with good job, right? Just say good job, all right? And then just save the file. Then what you're going to do is coming back to the documentation, right? I'm gonna, basically add the files in here as well, so that can make your life easier. And then we're going to basically run the git add with the file that we changed, right? So that the Git can know that we made a change on this file, right? So let's go there and add that. You just run the git add files /index.html. There you go. Then now you're going to basically set a configuration, settings in here. You just need to make sure that you replace this user.email with your user email, right, that you have created to create your Azure account. That should be your Azure login, right? Just go there and replace it and come back in here and run it. All right. And then here we're going to now commit the change, right? Just to make sure that, the repository knows that there was a change. Run it. There you go. So there was a change committed, and then now you're going to run a git push to upload the code changes to the repository sitting on Azure. Just go there and run it. And then it's gonna ask, it's gonna basically run, and then it could ask you for the password, right? And then you can give the same password that we gave in the steps, I think was one of the first steps where we copied, right, the credentials, right? If asks you for the password, you can just give the credential that you just copied, right, or generated in the first step. But in our case in here, it's already logged, so it didn't ask anything. So let's go back now on our Azure console. And if you come back in here on Azure portal, right, let's go on Azure DevOps. If you come in here on Azure repos first, you're going to see that there was a change, right? If you come in the commits, just click in commits, you're going to see that there was a change reported here on the index.html, right? This is the change that we just made. And then if you look in here in the pipelines, you're going to see that a new release has just been initiated, right? So it's it took the change and then just initiated a new release, right? It detected that the change, there was a code change, right? And then it already started a new release that it can deploy those changes, right, inside of our storage account. So you see that it is already deploying the changed code, right, the change index.html in the test environment. So it's basically extracting the file, and then now it's gonna upload the files to the Azure Below storage account, right? So it should be there in just a few seconds, right? So let's see, let's just monitor that. It's gonna be good. So it's just running, perfect. All right, it's almost there. It's uploading the index.html file. If you could see that, there you go. Now, if you come back in the testing URL, so that change should be already in there. Let's just refresh it and see what's happened. And then there you go. It just say good job, because we just replaced the code, and then the code got automatically deployed, right? And then you're going to see that the Q&A environment is still showing congratulations, because it's still not updated, and the same thing applies for the production environment, right? Because it just got deployed on the test environment. If we go back now to the pipeline, you're going to see that the process is already happening in the Q&A environment, right? It will run on the Q&A, and then it should be ready on Q&A in just a second, right? It's uploading the files to the Azure Below storage now, right? It is almost in there. It should be ready in a few seconds. And then once it finishes, it's gonna go to production, and what we're going to see what's gonna happen next, right? So let's see if that's gonna finish. It's almost there. It's running for 22 seconds as of now, right? It usually takes around 40 seconds to complete everything, right? Think about that. How long would that take in a production or in an on-premise environment, right? So the Q&A environment has just, been completed as well. If you refresh it now, then you're going to see good job. There you go. So now the last one is going to be the production environment. Let's go there and approve it. Approved. Let's just say approve. All right. And then once we approve that, it's going to be queued, and then it should be deployed in the production environment as well, right? So just say approve, and then just wait. It should take around 40 seconds or so, right? You're going to wait for, and then it is already almost there, right? It is uploading the files to the Azure Below storage on the production environment, right? It's almost there. So we should be able to see the production environment updated shortly. There you go. Looks like it is completed. Let's just refresh it. And you see that immediately the change appears in here. So congratulations, Bootcamper, for completing this amazing project, right? You see that there are a lot of steps, but the result is amazing, right? And it's not really complex to do it, but you need to take a lot of caution, right? You need to go step by step, right? So I strongly recommend that you just go there and watch it first one time, and then try to do it along with myself for the second time. But the first time that you do it, just go ahead and watch it, try to understand, and then after that, do it with me because I think you're going to have a better experience, right? So for the evidence, just go ahead and take a screenshot for this screen here showing that you managed to complete that, and then also take a screenshot from each one of the environments showing the URL, right? The testing environment, the Q&A environment, and the production environment, and then that should be good enough for us to see that you completed that successfully, right? So once you finish that, you can go there and explore a little bit more, and then once you finish exploring, just go ahead and remove all the resources that we have created, the storage accounts, the DevOps project, all of that. Just go ahead and remove it and you should be good to go, right? So hope you have enjoyed. Thank you for being here and hope to see you in the next project. Bye-bye.
And this was just one of over 40 hands-on projects our students build inside the Cloud Bootcamp. Here you truly learn by doing, solving real-world enterprise challenges, and building a portfolio that actually sets you apart in the tech industry. On November 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, you'll have the chance to get lifetime access to all our bootcamps, including cloud, DevOps, artificial intelligence, and special bonuses revealed only live. If you haven't signed up yet, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to secure your spot now. This is the last time ever we will offer lifetime access to our bootcamps. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next projects we'll be showing here. And of course, I'll see you live on November 24th.